Hey, yo, that's what's up. Hello, everybody in this wonderful known world of ours. What is up? Thank you very much for
There's my little brother.
Is that your little brother?
Yeah, my Squire brother.
Oh, thank you so much for tuning in today to Ask the Knight Live, where we ask knights interesting questions. And today we have Mr. Knight and Mrs. Squire. And we're going to be probing into the wonderful lives of our very own hostess, Her Excellency Countess.
But I'll take that one. I'll take that one. So just
His Excellency Count Heinrich. So let's go ahead and start with the usual questions that we always ask. What is your name? What is your quest? And what is your favorite color? Age before beauty.
Well, I mean, both, but
I'm going to get drunk tonight.
Heinrich von Schwarzenberg. I go by Heinrich Sinister.
Because I can't pronounce that part. I always say Heimlich. I'm not kidding. Sorry.
My quest to survive this one. Favorite color blue. Your turn.
I mean, the worst part is I always say that like in invocation and stuff like that. Where everybody knows me. I'm the loud one of the West. Where it's hi, I'm Honora. What is my quest? To survive. Anywho, and obviously my favorite color is purple. Oh, hi, Randall. I guess you're not at West End here. Anyway,
from go West in Antier. Gotcha.
From the West in Antier.
You choke on his name.
Dad?
That's not all. Anyway, so
that's what's the terminology? That's what she said. One. Thank you, Dan. Okay.
All right, everybody, don't forget to go ahead and add those questions in the comments. And according to Honora here, no holds barred. So, ask anything that you want. Apparently, nothing is off the table.
No, everybody's always so respectful when we have knights on here because I think they're a little worried about like being caught asking the awkward questions to knights. I mean, this is a married couple conversation. Ask us the awkward questions. Make me blush.
Well, not just the married. I mean, this is, like we kind of said in the intro, right? The point of this is, how do we, as someone who already has achieved the thing, how do we have a relationship in the SCA where, I've done the thing, I'm helping her to do the thing, but I can't always be there to do the thing. I can't do it for her, and I can't,
How do we juggle everything?
How do we juggle everything?
And not
how do we juggle the kid? How do we ensure that she's getting the time for everything? So that's
whose sword is bigger? Fucking Effin.
That's what she said.
Number 2. I'm gonna give him that one on that one because I've been hit with that sword. I'll just say it because it was there. Number 3. And it fucking hurts. Number 4. Fuck, there's no way to talk about that without it coming off as dirty. Anywho.
I go with the standard 1.5 inch, 36-inch sword. I might go to a slightly longer one, but yeah, it's how you use the sword that matters.
So, Dan asked a really good question.
As long as you can reach the pack, it's fine.
What was it?
First question: are you his Squire or someone else's? Thank you, Dan. Not my knight.
Not my Squire.
We actually have shirts. His says knight and it has a white belt on it. And mine is obviously Squire with a red belt. We need to get like iron-on patches for it to say not his, not hers. Because we're always on this. He's always on my left. I'm always on his right. So it'll always be perfectly shaped. Oh, hi, Party Dad. That is him.
Yep.
Okay, John. Sorry, we stepped on you.
That's fine. That's fine. Who is your Squire? Who is your knight?
Well, my knight's Duke Matthias von Levenberg.
Levenberg? Really?
Yeah.
It was always just Duke Matthias. I didn't know it was Levenberg. I would fuck that up too.
Levenberg.
Because I'd be like, Levenbread? I actually have 2 knights. I'm actually incredibly lucky that way. I have Sir, I almost said Heinrich von Brederick. That's wrong dude. Sir Volric von Brederick, who is now in Meridian. He's in Tennessee. Yeah. And then I have Sir Leotolf of the Silver Heroes here. Thank you. Here in the West. So And yeah, not mine.
And do you have a squire at the moment?
I have 3.
You have 3 squires. Okay.
Yep. I've got Lucas, who's over in Silver Desert. I've got 4. Wait, Lucas in Silver Desert, Edmund in Sacramento, and Ashlyn out east. Or sorry, in the Kingdom of the Middle. So 3.
Okay. Used to
Locke graduated. We all saw that episode.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So an interesting thing. So I think one of the things that we actually talked about in a previous episode is that Anora, sometimes you have to have things translated for you into Anora. Is it by Heinrich from your knight? So like your knight explains something and then Heinrich has to explain it to you kind of in terms that you have to understand? Or
yes and no. Yes and no.
Okay.
Yeah, so because we've been together for mumble 8 years or something now, and she's been fighting that whole time. So I've learned how to mostly speak Anora. But the thing that Valeric and I first found when she first got serious about fighting, and Valeric was teaching her, and of course I was helping, trying not to step in the way because it's like that's her knight, not me. It was, we'd try to show her things, we try to teach her things, and we're both, Valeric and I just had the hardest time sometimes. Sometimes she clicks. Sometimes she just, oh, I got it. Other times she's like, just this look like, and we're like, she had no idea what she's talking about. And then Leotov comes along, and like, he sees exactly what we're saying. He hears exactly what we're saying, and then says exactly what we said, but in cowgirl, like in Anora speak, in girl that grew up, with animals and out in the country kind of thing. Like a perfect thing was raps. I've always been, I'm a here's your bowl. Here's your bowl. I got to get the camera here. Here's your bowl of soup kind of guy, right? Here's your bowl of soup. Oh, I don't like you. Right. It's just that rolling the thumb. So that's how I teach raps. And then Valeric, I think, is more of the baseball bat style of rap, where you're swinging a baseball bat. She doesn't get that. She was never a waitress and she never played baseball. So she never got it. So Leotov comes along and he's like, oh, it's just like you're running a lasso. Right? You're running the lasso, you throw the lasso. And she's like, just light bulb. And so that was the moment that we knew we would explain. And if we got a glassy eye look, we just push her right to Leotov. And that's where she's migrated with when Valeric left and Leotov stepped up as her local knight. That was the thing, was it's anytime there's a translation that needs to occur, if I don't immediately have a way of framing it for her to understand, I just straight to Leotov. Because almost guaranteed he'll explain it. And if he can't, then the two of us, him and I, work together to find a way to explain it.
But I can honestly take what I've learned, go and work on him, and look like a jackass, look like an absolute dumbass, and not feel judged and not feel awkward at all. And he can finesse what I've been taught, which is kind of nice. But as you heard, he doesn't like to step on my knight's feet, but he likes to contribute as he can.
Yeah.
So it's a good question. Very good question.
Yeah, and I do think that it's very important for the dynamic that you have, where a lot of times I've had people that come up to you and they're like, "Hey, you're doing this and you're doing this and you need to do this." And it's like, well, my knight has explained it this way, and this is how I'm doing it, and I need to learn it this way or learn it in a different way from how he explained it. You're not my knight. Maybe you should go and talk to him and have him explain it to me. So you're not my knight, but thank you very much. Next time, if I ask you, I'll appreciate the gesture. We do have a follow-up question from that previous question. Dan here was asking, there have been knights who were in romantic relationships with their squires. Some folks condemn this, others say meh. What is your take on that? I
mean, we're all consenting adults. Do what you will.
Absolutely.
The issue, of course, is, really when it comes down to it is, if we're obviously in a committed relationship, we've got a kid, we've been together, we're married, we're in this for the long haul. Theoretically, we could get divorced. Anytime the relationship breaks up, there's a power struggle, right? We've all seen this, right? Anytime relationships in the SCA end, people take sides and there's power struggles and people just, it gets crazy. So if you are the knight or the peer of any kind, really, but we're obviously knights, but if you're the knight and you're dating your squire and the relationship goes south, your knight squire relationship probably will go with it, right? I unless you just realize we are not romantically compatible, let's just be friends, and you kind of shift back to the non-platonic or to the non-relationship platonic side of it, then maybe. But again, that takes a lot of communication and a lot of adultness. But
damn,
I wouldn't mess with it unless you're pretty sure that's someone that you want to have a relationship with.
I am always so impressed with your eloquentness.
Ooh.
I thought I was just making
My first thought was, fuck, I'm gonna sit back and watch, because it's going to go south.
I mean, I'm a positive guy.
I am not,
but you got to be ready for it. And honestly, that's like any relationship that's like that, right? If you especially when you have a romantic commitment to that, if it goes south, it's gonna get messy. It's gonna get ugly.
Oh, and the household will break up too, because assuming most of the times that knights have a household, the squire is a part of the household, but not a head of it. Like, he's got a household with his squires. I got no fucking say in it, except low key. I'm like, those are my guys, because those are also my friends. But anything he says goes, and I'm not the lady of the household. I'm not the mother hen of the household. You motherfuckers fuck up, that's on you. And I tell them that all the time. I treat them like squire brothers versus being the lady of the household. So, man, good question, Dan. I like him. He asks good questions.
Keep them coming, Dan. So let's roll back a little bit. Let's roll back a little bit. Where did you two meet?
This really weird sport.
Pretty much.
Do we want to get really awkward with this?
Yeah, maybe we did the 50,000 foot view. Basically, it was she was going through her divorce, and I was in another relationship. I was married. I think I was married.
You were married.
And
sounds so bad.
It's the SCA. Everyone does it. So she had just started getting into fighting, and there's a couple of people, and so it's like, I'm like, I'm going to help this new fighter, and there was a meet and beat or something.
It was a meet and beat.
It was like a meet and beat that she wanted to go to, and I can't remember exactly the lead up to it, but literally it was, hey, I'm going, I can pick you up, take you to this meet and beat, it'll be great. Took her to the meet and beat. I did my knight thing. She was off doing her fighter thing, but the car ride there and back, we just really were able to talk a lot, and we just started talking the whole time. And then when that relationship, that marriage that I was in at the time fell apart, it just shifted into this one.
Friendships to lovers, I would really put it as best
it really
as
was.
that. It
really was. We were friends a long time before.
And then
anything like that.
Most of the time, a lot of couples have awkwardness in fighting or in teaching of any kind. Like, I know I could not learn to drive stick from my ex-husband to save my life. And I thought for sure it was going to be really awkward fighting him. And then he nearly concussed me because I made a bad mistake. And I just remember turning and yelling at him, and him just laughing because he was kind of proud of me that I just stood back up, almost blind in one eye, because he flat stepped me so fucking cleanly, knocked me to the ground. And I stood up, I'm yelling at him, doing this kind of thing. And he's going, "You're going to be okay. You're a good fighter. You're going to come away with this." But no, we always joke about how, honestly, it's like we've known each other for so long, because our relationship is really that rock solid, and the fighting's kind of nice, but it's not the glue that's holding us together.
Yeah, if the SCA fell apart tomorrow, we've got a half dozen things that we've already talked about. Like, we really want to go do these other things.
Oh, COVID was great, because COVID was like, dude, you're my apocalypse partner. Shit goes south, I'm not going to anybody else but you. That's where I got the zombie apocalypse question. Oh, you're my zombie apocalypse.
Oh,
sorry.
Hopefully not the apocalypse.
Yeah, please not.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
So within that, so your relationship really started with friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Started back in friendship. Do you feel like
it actually started as a knight squire situation, if you think about it, because it was a knight trying to help a squire.
Yeah, he was a new knight, so he was, and I had known him as the knight, the knight counselor for my best friend when she was reigning. And that's how I first kind of met him, and we were just more of acquaintances. And then when I started fighting hardcore a couple of years later, that's when the friendship started getting stronger, because we did have that connection.
So sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No. So do you think that friendship was really what kind of solidified the strong relationship you have right now?
Mm-mm. Well, yes and no. Honestly, for me, it was I got to be who I wanted to be with him. and he doesn't hold that against me. I can try and be feminine and fail epically, and he still will love me at the end of the day. He still appreciates me for all of the weird fucking shit that I do that I would never appreciate in a relationship. And he lets me get away with it. But he also encourages me to do what I want to do. So in like the fighting thing, he encourages me to go to the practices. I'll stay home and watch the girl. You go and do that. Oh, you want to autocrat? Go out. I have no interest in autocrating, but you go autocrat and I will carry the hammer behind you.
Yep.
So that's kind of what's been ours.
All right. Yeah, you are pretty fucking weird. I'm just saying.
You have no idea. You only see glimpses of me, bro. You should hear the shit. You've seen the shit on Facebook. That's just like caveats.
Oh,
weird.
All right. So moving on to that. Within that dynamic of fighting, because I guess do you two fight a lot, like outside of practice, inside of practice, at tournaments? Like, do you two fight constantly, like even
as much
away
as
from
we
practice,
can?
as much as you can?
Yeah.
When we have the girl, it's hard. We can't because we don't want to depend on our friends to watch her. We don't want to expect that they're going to watch her. So the times that our friends will come forward and go, "Hey, we'll watch your 4-year-old for you. Go play." We immediately, I will drive. If he's talking with other knights, I'll walk over and go, he's going to actually do something.
He's going to go be a good knight.
He's going to go be a good fighter.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to the, the parents as well thing, where it's the everything. So we're, we get the scales, but we actually have like multiple pieces of the scale they're all trying to balance, because it's making sure she gets the training time she needs to excel and, achieve what she wants. Make sure I get the training time I need to accomplish some of the things that I still want to do. I mean, I'd really like to win another crown. Proof the first one wasn't an accident. And then with the kid, it's, when we're just sitting around the house, we could throw on armor and go in the backyard and fight. Can't do that really with the kid. We have to find ways to keep, because she wants to be part of it. She wants to come out and put helmet on and come with us. And then it's okay. Well, let's see, can we go over to the family, the in-laws, her parents' place, and maybe go there? But then it's the same thing. We're trying to juggle everything. And when we get to spank fighting is we'll get to that. But trying to juggle everything with time for her to fight, time for me to fight, with the kid, because kid comes first, right? That family's first and foremost. And so it really is a juggling act. And I think even when it's probably even worse, because you had the couple on that they were both squires, and I can't remember, did they have kids?
I don't believe they did have kids.
Yeah. So when you're two squires, actually your squire brother Jake, when you're two squires trying to fight to walk the path and you have a kid, you're juggling even more, because you're trying to keep that all organized, trying to keep it all in line, and there's just not enough hours in the day.
Oh God.
So,
and having full-time jobs.
And so
did you ever have any issues with fighting your significant other?
We've never met in a tournament.
Correct.
Not yet.
She knows the rules, and I know her rules, which is I don't get to go easy on her. I will not go easy on her. We've talked about the potential of, like, if we ever met in finals kind of thing. And my thing, especially with her, is literally I don't want anyone to ever think that I took it easy on her. I don't want anyone to think that I gave her the tournament, because I know that that's the first thing she's thinking about, right? She's going to be holding.
You should not have taken that. That was way too light.
Yeah, she's going to have that in her head the whole entire time. She'll be sitting in the big chair and still think that she doesn't deserve to be there because she thinks I gave it to her, and I never want her to have that. So when we fight, I fight her as I do anyone else. I'll fight a couple notches above to push her, and then when she starts creeping up on me, I'll have to fight more, and then she creeps up and I fight better. But she knows when the lights are on and the big show's happening, she's getting Count Heinrich, who wants to be a duke.
He's not my everything when that happens. He is just some asshole in the way.
She's my next victim.
Yeah.
So she knows that. And I've told her that too. I'm like, I'm not your partner. I'm not your husband. I am your next victim. If we ever meet at a tournament, you unload on me, you kill me. Yeah. So.
Oh, I'm nut shotting you.
No.
What advice would you have for couples who fight? Like me and my wife. My wife has spoken to you about some of the issues that she's had with fighting against me. What's some advice that you would give couples that have a little bit of problems fighting each other, whether it's the wife having issues fighting her husband or the husband fighting his wife or vice versa, whatever it is, whatever you consider yourselves to be in that relationship. What advice would both of you give to them equally about handling that situation?
I think you have to delve a little bit deeper into yourself and figure out, is there something that's causing you to be uncomfortable with fighting them? There's a difference between a tournament and practice. A tournament is a really hard place because you already have all these eyes on you. That's stressful enough. But when it's in practice and you're still having this trouble, maybe there's and not saying there's an underlying issue in the relationship, but maybe you're afraid of your significant other possibly judging you. And oftentimes, I'm going to be honest here, as females, we have a tendency to feel that way. We're being judged. We're being watched closely. We might be, is my significant other being super nice to me? Things like that. I know that was my big one. Yeah. Oh, all the time. I'll get a shot on him and I'm like, you shouldn't have taken that. And he goes, no, it was a good clean shot. I'm like, well, you gave it to me. Like, you let me have that. You literally are like, oh, I moved my sword at the wrong time. And it's a really awkward conversation. But I mean, I think they also need to be able to communicate. I'm uncomfortable fighting you. I'm uncomfortable fighting you. I'm afraid if I cry in front of you, you might see me as weak. I mean, for a long time, I didn't want to cry in front of him. And then I finally did. And it was very therapeutic to fight while crying, honestly. And to make me realize that I'm just crying because I'm frustrated. I think that's a big part of it, is communicating. I'm going to fight you. I'm really uncomfortable with it, but I want to get over this hurdle because there might be others I'm uncomfortable fighting. And if I can fight somebody I trust and be uncomfortable, maybe I can get over those fears as well. That's what really helped me. And it helped a lot with our communication. We had good communication to begin with, but fighting has encouraged that too, of what are you feeling right now? Okay, let's delve into that a little bit more. Let's bring that to the surface and work on that, because that's going to make you stronger in the long run.
So to kind of add on to some of that, she covered it, communication, but also you and your partner need to kind of lay out your ground rules of how the fight will go out, what's allowed to happen, what your rules are of the fight, right?
Are we practicing or are we fighting?
Yeah. Are we practicing or are we fighting? Are we training or are we practicing? Right. Those are two hugely different things.
Right.
And then also okay, I'm going to come at you harder than I have. Expect it, be ready for it, so that you're not surprising them. Obviously, don't just decide to up to a crown level fight without them knowing. But whatever your partner needs, you need to listen to and abide by, because maybe your partner just wants you to be a pal, But like Honora said, you're not going to get any better unless your partner pushes you, and you can't get pushed if you're constantly being held back by rules, right? So communicate, make sure you're on the same level, you're working together. And the final thing that I think really helps, she hasn't really had to do it yet because we haven't really fought in a tournament, but you also may want to have a ground rule of it. When I put the helmet on, I'm not your husband anymore. I'm not your partner. I'm not your whatever. I'm just random dude who wants to beat the crap out of you. So prove me wrong. Right. So kind of make that separation from your relationship to your fighting. It's once you're on that field, once you put that helmet on, you are no longer partners. You're still friends, be friends, always be friends, but you're not in a relationship that requires, to worry about hurting your partner. So,
yeah. Okay. So let's do a little bit of separation. Let's ask him more serious questions. Let's start with Sir Heinrich. When you fight, do you fight angry? Do you fight zen? Do you fight like focus? Are you just empty brain and let your muscles do what they do? How do you go into fighting?
Happy empty brain.
Happy empty brain.
That's how I found my best fights are. I don't think about the tournament necessarily. I try not to worry about who I'm fighting. When they call the name, I'll kind of process in my brain, is there anything I need to know about them? Are they this past tournament, there was one fighter who is aggressive normally, and they were being extra aggressive. And so it was like, okay, if I draw him, he's going to come at me hard. And he did. So I was ready for it. But honestly, I used to, I don't know, I'm going to put a little asterisk next to this. I used to go out there with the mentality of, it's my field, I own it, come take it from me. I've already won this tournament. It's up to you to prove, all you others to try to prove me wrong. Right. Okay. And I still have that mentality. That's why I said put an asterisk in. I still have that mentality. That's my field. It's still my field. But I do it from a place of joy and happiness. I'm out there to have fun. I don't worry about if I go 3 rounds or 4 rounds, if I have 5 easy fights or 6 hard fights. I don't care. I'm out there to do my best, to fight my best, to make her proud, and ultimately win. But like this last time, semifinals was me and Miles, the guy who won. And so it's like, and I'm looking at the final 4, and I'm literally just like, all right, so Sakeen was starting to get gassed. If I draw him, that's my best bet. Siggy and I are, depending on the day, we're usually 50-50. So that one can go either way.
If they're watching this, you're gonna get
Miles is my biggest, was my biggest risk at that point. Of course, that's who I drew. And so as soon as I drew that, I was like, all right, no, I'm going to come at him. I'm going to kick his ass. I'm going to beat him up. And if I win, I win, great. And if I don't, I lost Miles, one of the best fighters in the list. So that's kind of how I approach that mindset. I try not to overthink it.
Okay. And Laura.
I'm still trying to figure out that good dynamic. If I go out there angry, I'm really nervous about accidentally blowing a shot because I'm so mad. I'm just going to completely ignore it. So I try and do the no mind. Well, I'm a Gemini. I argue with myself out loud way too often that this man is hurt. While that one voice might be quiet, the other one in the background is singing, you can't do this. And so then the other one's going, oh, fuck you, I can. And then it just becomes this whole, I'm now arguing with myself, not paying attention to my opponent. So really, right now, I'm going out there enjoying the fight. Maybe someday I will find a dynamic, but I haven't found what mine is yet. And
I think she does her best when she's just having fun.
When I'm just having fun. I thought you were going to say when I'm mad, and that's only when I fight you because I'm blowing all your shit.
That's different. That's actually a training technique.
Yeah.
With her is I found that she would get so focused on whatever it was her brain was locked onto. And so I'd do something to piss her off. I'd bait her with a very obvious shot. Hey, look at this really easy shot. And she'd see me doing it and she'd get pissed that I was baiting her with an easy shot. And then that would trigger the lizard brain fighter that I was looking for. And she'd come at me with a much harder fight than she was a minute ago. So sometimes getting her mad's an okay thing, but tournament wise, she just has to have fun.
Yeah. Tournaments are not my best place. If I could get judged on how I'm fighting in practices, great. Tournaments, I'm not the kind of person where I have to win to feel good about myself. My goal right now is to make sure that I'm a pretty fight, not a hamster in a wheel.
A fun fight.
It really all depends on like what your victory conditions are, right?
Exactly.
Like, your victory conditions.
Exactly.
And I think that's something that a lot of people don't really talk about enough is, and I can't remember who we had. I don't know if it was on this show or if it was at like Stola when I was over there, but I think I actually might have been at Stola when I was taking Duke Damon's class. But it was, what are your victory conditions?
Mm-hmm.
And if your victory conditions are, I do my best, I give my best fight, and I fight the prettiest that I have ever fought, that is a victory in my book.
Mm-hmm.
And
exactly,
his victory conditions are, I win every tournament, and Duke Damon is just that good. So
exactly, I'm not there yet, so I don't want to walk off that field being disappointed in myself.
Yeah.
So.
Effin said in the background here, he said, you have to tell her to measure dicks, and then use the best fight.
That is very true. And when he and I met, and it was me and Effin fought, and it was okay, what are we doing here? I'm like, well, are we? And I actually ask anybody on the practice field, are we training? Are you working on something, or are we measuring dicks? Because if we're measuring dicks, that's an entirely different fight and setup. So he's right.
Yep.
Absolutely. Gosh, I think I had one more, but it has completely slipped my mind. So we've got at least one starred. We've got one question in the background here from Sir Demetrios in Haid.
Demetrius.
For Sir Heinrich, outside of prowess, what virtue do you look for most in a candidate?
I never get these conversations, so I'm curious to hear this.
Oh yeah, it's always good classic.
I'm trying to help you.
Oh,
Fucking answer.
Actually, I mean, honestly, prowess. I'll be honest, prowess isn't even on the board when it comes to what I'm looking for in a candidate, because the prowess has to be an assumption anyways. So then it's okay. What are the other things that make this person excel, right? And so for me, I'm a big fan of humility. I'm the most humblest guy out there, but I think humility to me is the virtue that tempers everything else, right? It's the virtue that, you can be the best fighter, but if you're an arrogant asshole about it, no one wants you to be around. You can be the most generous or the best looking or whatever, but if you brag about it, you start getting into, the whole vainglories and pride and all that other good stuff. So I think humility to me is one of the prime virtues that tempers all the others. What I want to see is someone who shows pride in their accomplishments, that shares their accomplishments without bragging, and then just generally tries to be there to help others, push others up. That's kind of what I'm looking for. The prowess will come or it won't. So basically it's like, again, you could be an amazing stick fighter, and if you're a jerk, you'll never get my vote. So
fair point. The second part here, Honora, what virtue do you feel you put forth best? What do you think is your best virtue?
That's actually a really terrible question, because it's asking me to think good about myself. And I don't think well about myself. I know my honesty is really good. I'm a very, very, anybody can come to me and ask a question about honesty. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I'll give it to them very honestly and as nicely as I can. And now because of that awkwardness, I'm like, oh, I've forgotten all of the virtues. I need my virtue ring.
I can't find my ring.
Oh shit.
I still can't find my ring.
Fortitude is not the one I'm thinking of. Fortitude is not the one I'm thinking of.
All right, Squires out there, quick test.
Yeah.
List the main 7 virtues.
I'm not good at them. Oh my God. Franchise. My franchise is really good, I think. But I also think of franchise, unfortunately, it's 2 different ways. I've heard it be said franchise is how you give back and also how you portray yourself. And I'd like to think that I do both of those very well. I give of myself a lot. That's my love language to the SCA is I love serving people. I love helping people with things. I love interacting with humans. But I also think that I've improved my fighting franchise a lot. Mm-hmm. So I might die, but I look great when I die.
Yep.
Prowess definitely needs to be worked on. I feel like I have a lot of the other good virtues. It's just prowess I really have to work on. Damn you, Demetrius. Don't ask any more questions. That was fucking hard. I didn't like that one.
Ask more, Demetrius.
No, because he made me blush. Fuck off! Ooh!
Yeah! All right. Oh, there we go. We got a response. Honesty, humility, franchise, honor, courtesy, charity, and prowess.
Yes, I do. I do all of those really well, with the exception of the last one.
Prowess.
Right, Lucas. I need that ring, and then we used to wear it all the time, and then
it got put in a box, and I mean like a jewelry box at some point, because I've got that, and I've got one of my other rings, and I can't.
I just don't wear rings, so I got them tattooed. And I'm not getting that virtue. I'm not getting those virtue tattooed on my hand. I'm so sorry. Fuck that.
Yeah, Demetrius says thank you, Squire. just so everybody knows here, I'm a little dyslexic, and I almost read that as chastity instead of charity, and I was like, ooh, there goes my chances. That was really good. And this same guy, Thorin McCanan, actually put up a really good question here too. So the next question is going to be, what is your favorite fighting style, and what's one you'd like to practice more?
We're
gonna hold it.
Yeah, definitely sword and board and sword and shield. My sword and buckler is not the greatest, but sword and board I love very much. But the one I'd like to practice more, there's a part of me that wants to say two stick because I suck at it and because I don't like fighting two stickers. You know what? No, I'm gonna make that a challenge for myself. Now that I've said it out loud, that I fucking hate two stick. I hate fighting two stickers and I hate doing two stick. I want to practice more on two stick. Ugh.
A lot of times you have to have a second partner for two sticks.
That's what she said.
There you go.
God, that hurt. That hurt.
So mine's got like a. I was gonna say mine's like there's like a caveat to mine because it's.
I'm a knight. I've done them all.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's part of what you're supposed to do. Part of the job. Look up the fucking job description.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
For me, it's are we talking tournaments and singles? Or are we talking war?
Oh,
like I love fighting my little leaf blade spear at wars. It's that little the one that when I'm standing there and it's got the little kind of A-frame looking leaf blade. Yeah. I love fighting wars with that thing because that's just so much fun.
Pike.
But yeah, she's amazing with a pike. But like, as far as like singles go, it's not really.
He's a lefty.
Yeah.
By the way,
so if I start fighting mass weapon, lefty on righty mass weapon is a completely different game than lefty on lefty two stick, lefty on lefty sword and shield. I literally like at the last tournament 4th round was I'm doing this with my glaive back and forth going, wait, which feels better? Left, right. And like the entire litany, I'm trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to hold the damn glaive because I just don't. So would I practice more with it? Maybe. Yeah. But there's a lot of fun little things. There's we call it the stupid stick. It's basically a basket with, it's like a really tiny Madu, but no actual thrusty points on it kind of thing. Mine's a broken greatsword, so it's only like, for like a foot or two down this way, and like the grip, it's got cross guards. Those are fun because it's like it's a skinny shield, so we call it the stupid stick. But so you're trying to fight sword and shield with it basically, and you got this tiny little shield. Two stick's always fun. I like fighting two stick. It's just been a while.
You need to do that more with me.
Okay.
Well, when you say two stick, do you mean like two swords, or do you mean like sword and Madu, or like?
Good differential. Yeah, two swords.
Yeah, the Florentine. Although
Florentine,
it's not Florentine.
I mean, it's whatever. Everybody's got their own terminology for it, but okay. I just wanted to clarify that because.
No, that's a really good point because you're right. Other kingdoms do. I didn't even think of Madu being the two sticker. And you're right. That's exactly what that would be.
Madu, Christian, some people call it Christian, where it's the inverted greatsword or inverted bastard sword. Same thing.
Because I've also seen sword and dagger, which
if you're jumpy, it's fun.
Yeah,
you gotta be quick on the feet.
Ooh, I might try. Okay, I'd like to keep that one in a back pocket. I'd like to try that. Be like rapier.
Use my war sword.
There you go. It'd be like rapier. So I think that'd be very comfortable for me because I love rapier and dagger. So
also for everybody watching, bring back dagger and buckler. Like I want to see more prison balls. Seriously, prison balls.
But then again, I like pretty fights. I like the fights where you can see what everybody is doing, and dagger fights. Like somebody says, I have seen two dagger as well, and I've seen them, and we love them because you are essentially watching a legal brawl.
A street fight.
It's a street fight. It is
a street fight.
Ugly. It is so ugly. Funny, but ugly.
Our next question here is from Lucas McConmel.
Squire.
That's my boy.
Lucas. What is something you like to see more on the field? And I believe Honora, you were the last one to answer, so let's go.
Oh no! Did I answer the last one? Whatever. Anyway.
Oh no, I think it was Sir Heinrich actually.
Yeah, Prince Lachlan likes fighting dagger and buckler. Okay, Prince Lachlan is like 6'20", and it's like fighting a fucking gorilla, and you give him a fucking buckler and a dagger. Oh, I'm conceding the fight. Shit's gonna get bad.
He has control.
He has great control.
He'll be fine.
That hurts just thinking about it. But what is something I'd like to see more of on the field?
Absolutely.
Banners.
Oh, okay. Now are we talking about
banners and pageantry in general? If we're talking like like, and actually, Lucas, please feel free to clarify.
Yes, please.
If you're talking like what fighting styles or, things like that.
No,
honestly,
that's a good answer. I like that.
There's a difference
on the field.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Banners and pageantry. Like people have your actual surcoat, have, most people will wear their colors, but it tends to be like their tunic or, stuff like that. But like surcoats and tabards and things are, granted, the West is shifting to kind of a very Norsey kind of thing where they just wear tunics. They don't really have tabards and surcoats, but have banners and but like banners and things like that is just all part of the pageantry of it.
Yes,
the field should just be lit up with banners. So,
honestly, more fun. It shouldn't be just about winning. I personally feel like there's been, at least again here in the West, we don't have a lot of fun tourneys. Most of our, because of the fact that we are a three crown reign. Thank you. And three coronet. No, fuck.
Technically 6 coronets if we count Wertha.
Yeah. So we have a lot of tournaments that you get a job at the end of. We don't have a whole lot when it comes to fun tournaments where you're just going out there to fight, and we don't get to have that ability to just fuck around and have a really fun time. And the times that we have done that, it's been like barroom brawls where you take all the armor, all the weaponry, and you throw it in the middle and people dive bomb, which we can't do anymore because too many people have gotten hurt.
Yeah.
So there's something amazing to watch when you're watching two good fighters square up, judge each other, and you can hear what they're saying to each other like, I saw your foot move and I know what's coming and fuck you. No. And that is so awesome to the audience. We are there for the audience.
You made me fall for that last practice.
Yes.
So I'm not going to fall for it this time.
And I think there needs to be more fun. But he did just clarify, what do you want to see more about of other fighters on the field, whether in the fight or just presence? So yeah, kind of pageantry.
Just what you guys
the pageantry and the fun.
Thank you, Lucas.
So, and we've kind of touched on this a little bit, Lucas, and the other guys that are my squires when we're talking about the things we do when we're on the field. Basically what I'm looking for out of squires who are trying to push that extra mile, and this actually goes a little towards Grayson's question as a follow-up, going that little extra, pushing yourself that little bit harder, trying to pick the tougher fights, enjoying the fights you're picking, and then also while you're out there, watching if you're teaching. Like part of the job, part of one of the things that I try to look for in candidates is someone who actually knows how to teach, right? Not everyone is. Some people suck at teaching, but I want to see you try. And if I'm watching, we do our roses, which starts after about 4th or 5th round of crown tourney, where you start doing pick up challenges off to the side. When I'm not busy fighting, if I'm watching the roses, I like to see squires pick a fight with someone tougher than them, go after the belts that are already out, go after the tougher squires, the ones that are above you in the food chain, as it were. Have fun with it, but then also when you're fighting other people, see you stop, see you talk about it. Like she said, it's not, we're not here to measure dicks. We're here. There is no king of roses. There's no king of practice, right? Did you learn something? Are you having fun? And so when you go out into that field, when you are picking those fights for the roses or even just for the fun of it, are you actually learning from it? Are you helping others learn from it?
Are you bringing people to the field or are you driving them away?
Yep. When I go to the practices, like a lot of times she's in armor, but I'm watching the kid, but I'm still trying to watch the other people that are out there. And it's what are they doing? Are they doing the same thing? Are they teaching? Are they putting forth that effort to try to help bring everyone up around them?
Better than what I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, it's not.
Oh, I am so mean when I'm in armor and he's not at practices. I am so fucking mean.
She's the meanest.
I'm fucking mean.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But so kind of leading into Grayson's question, if you want to post that up real quick.
Well, before that one, one of the big things that I completely agree with you. You said more banners. I want to see more people's devices on stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
We spend
I want to see people have registered devices.
Well, yeah.
a lot of people don't.
for the most part, it's like anytime you enter in a tournament and stuff, like you have to have a registered device, registered name, blah 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 blah. But what really irritates me is like we spend so much time doing research in our names and our devices, and a lot of people do research into names that heralds hate because they have to pronounce them. But it's like you only ever see them during tournaments, and it's like I wanted to put my device like right there on my chest because it's like I worked really hard to get the heralds to be like, yeah, that's okay,
Sure.
you can put that on. And it's like, I want to put that on me somehow. And it's like, I'm still trying to find ways to do that. So, you know, I was trying to get, like, my wife to like stitch them onto my shirts and stuff. And, you know, I'm still trying to get that, you know.
I'll tell you what, one of the best things you can do, and this isn't, take note of this, all you people that have any sort of main emblem measure device, for a fairly reasonable amount of money, it is money, so apologies, go to Etsy. And there's places that do 10-inch, 12-inch embroidered patches. And they're like, I think $40, $50.
Depending on
on quality and complexity. I mean, I got that lion that's on my tabard. I don't know if we have any pictures of it, easy to have, but that lion is literally a paid for embroidered patch that I just sewed onto my tabard, and I cut it off and put it on the next tabard. I used to paint it on all my tabards, and it sucks. So,
but I agree. Something like that where you can shields, you can look at somebody's encampment and know immediately whose encampment it is, not because you've seen it put up 1,000 times, but because their stuff is out front. Like our encampment would be red, white, and blue and gold because of our devices combined. And people would look over there and go, that's Heinrich and Honora's.
Yeah.
So
there's only so many colors, but that device is registered to one person. So
exactly.
Absolutely, I completely.
I mean, in our case, you know, just look for the 20-foot banner pole with the blue and white on top.
Yeah.
Oh, you can get Evelyn puts a really good point. You can get stamps of your heraldry to put to stamp card. You don't even have to put your entire shield on your chest. You can put like elements of it around your garb, around your something like that. Everybody knows fleurs. There are other flurry people in the West, and they know them. So they look at they see a gold fleur. They're like, okay, that's Honora. The purple one is Marguerite. Oftentimes they know immediately who it is. Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, and with the proliferation of 3D printing and laser cutting and things like that, you can again find somebody on Etsy or something, and you could probably have your either a small stamp or a big stamp made for fairly reasonable.
Exactly. So, I like Halford's question.
Or cut them yourself. I mean, there are people that that carve your own.
Nobody got time for that.
Whose question?
Grayson's.
Grayson is our Halford here.
Yep. Dang it, Effin, I'm doing too. So for Heinrich,
episode,
motherfucker.
Too many checks on the screen.
I'm sorry, you popped out for a minute, and I was trying to help. In a previous episode, you had spoken about in years past being a wallflower at events, and that you were told to be at more events. What did that mean for you, and how did you address it?
Oh, I love this story because I love that he's an introvert.
So yeah, I mean, I am a huge introvert. I've definitely come out of my shell in the last 10 years. Literally leading up to, eventually when I got offered. Basically, I've part of, having humility as my preferred virtue, as it were, also comes with the fact that I don't put myself out there. I don't like being out there. I don't like being the center of attention. I don't like that kind of stuff. My own mental demons, I think everyone's constantly judging me, so I just don't. So back in the before times, in the long ago when I was a squire in Atenveld, I was getting, I knew I was close prowess-wise because I was generally one of the top unbelts. I would finish fairly well in tournaments pretty often, the usual markers of being close. And other people who wouldn't go as far as tournaments than me, the people that I would routinely, be able to beat, it's obviously going back to you can't be king of practice, but if I'm regularly beating them at practice, it's like, why are these guys getting knighted before me? And the advice I kept getting was be at more events. And I say it that way very specifically, be at more events. And looking back, it really pissed me off because I was dating people that went to ANS events. I went to other events that were non-fighting. I was at fighting events. I was literally at a crap ton of events that there weren't even Shiv at. Like if there were knights present, they were there because their significant others were doing ANS also, kind of thing, right? So like the list of events I was at outweighed the list of events these other knights were at. So what the hell? What are they talking about? Well, skip forward several years, and during a drunken night with a good friend of mine, Sean South, we are... Yes, it is, Dan. Sorry. We're walking back from a party, and Sean South loved his liquor. He was gone, right? He was, if anyone knows Sean South, he was droopy eyed and he was done. And we're stumbling back to camp and we're talking, and this topic comes up. And I told him, I'm like, I'm super pissed about being told I need to be at more events, and I'm at those events, and those fuckers aren't, and what the hell? And I swear, Sean just stopped in his tracks, and he sobered up. Like his eyes, his droopy eyes were gone. He was as sober as a stone. Just boom, done, sober.
Night belt.
And he looks at me and he says, I'm sorry, we failed you. That was not the message you were supposed to get. The message you were supposed to get was we wanted you to be at more events, which is more like be a presence, be something that people see, that you're not just there, you're contributing and helping, and people see it. You're outgoing. You're that and you'll hear it referred to occasionally as like that spark of brilliance that finally the Shiv said, oh, there he is. That's kind of what to be at more events means. It's you can't just go to Crown, come out and fight on the field, maybe do some roses, and then go back to your camp and you're never seen again. Right? You got to come out and be social. It's part of the SCA game. I'm not saying go out and kiss ass because I hate ass kissers, but it is part of the game. They have to know you. If your name comes up in council, who's that? That guy. Okay, yeah, I think I saw him out on the field during the tournament, but I never saw him after that. However, if we're sitting there in circle and all of a sudden, we get up, we do our long live the king and queen, and we go to walk away, and I see 5 or 6 of these people helping the pelicans who are coming up next in circles carry their chairs, carry their things, helping them. Those are the kinds of presence items that we should be seeing and should be encouraging when we say to be at more events, as you're doing those things that make the society better.
Would you say it's like, instead of be at events, be the SCA? Be the change you want to see?
I mean, you could kind of throw that tag, be the change you want to see.
Then again, I'm putting it in a way where other people might, if they still are not clicking.
Yeah, no, totally. And this thing is, it's still going to be very personal, right? It's because it's what is it that you want from the society? What is it you want from this? You do have to conform to the standards of what the peerage circle you're aspiring to want. It's as my squires know, as anyone that's talked to me know, I'm pretty upfront and direct about what my requirements are. I'm not going to hold anything back. I'm not going to say, oh, you need to be at more events. I'm going to say, hey, I need to see you doing more things. I need to see you being more than just a stick jock. I need to see you contributing, helping, be a citizen of the society, understanding what it is to be a peer before you're a peer. Those are the kinds of things that go in. And as Dan says with the franchise, that is part of it. Part of franchise is people know who you are and for the good things you do.
Yeah. I hope that helped, Hawthorne.
A little rambly too. I'm sorry.
Well, it's perfect. No, you're absolutely right. I know.
He's really cute when he gets his night belt on and he gets his night chains on and he just starts going and he's like, oh, I'm like, oh, I forgot you're a knight.
Start pontificating.
Yeah, that's what the term is. The number of times I looked at him and gone, oh my God, I forgot you're a knight. So many times.
Pontiff Heinrich.
Oh my God. Same thing when he's fighting. Like I'll watch him on the fighting field sometime and I'll be like, oh shit, he's a knight. I forgot.
Yeah, because we'll do warm-ups or something, right? And I'm pushing her. And then the very next fight is
you one-shot
someone that I just, it's like, no, I'm not playing with my food. I have a limited reserve of energy to make it through the finals, and you don't deserve that energy, not yet. And so I just nuke them. And I was, the first couple of rounds, especially, I just quick get it done. And then she's like, oh shit, I remind me not to piss you off.
Exactly. Oh yeah, you could whoop my ass. So
no, we had my night on with with Sir Killian, and he talked about the concept of you can't teach height because like my knight is like 5'5", 5'6", short little Mexican guy, and so I'm not the shortest Squire brother, but I'm also not the tallest. I think I'm the second shortest Squire brother of all of my knight squires. So whenever we're at events and my other Squire brothers are there, he's always the first one. It's like, get my squires to go help carry stuff because all of them are big and strong and can carry things. So he's always the first one to be like, hey, all of my squires can carry stuff. Go help these people. Oh, hey, Little John, go help these people. Oh, hey, Valor, go help these people. So that's always the number one thing is he's always volunteering us to go do stuff. And I love the fact that my knight gets us to, he's almost franchising us, which I mean, I think that's fantastic.
That's part of his.
That is part of his job. But I also think you need to be challenging him as well. You need to be racing him to go and do these things before he even gets the opportunity to do that.
So I'm blessed with the all four of the squires that I have. They are always the ones that are ahead of me. Like I feel like I've gotten kind of lazy and lackadaisical when it comes to helping others because I used to be that guy.
Well, you're also with the kid a lot, so I can't blame you.
But yeah, I mean, it was literally like, I see someone who needs help. They've got a big box or chairs or something, and they're walking. I start to get up, and two of my squires are already headed towards them, like Lucas and Lachlan and Edmund and like I said, Ashlyn back east. I was blessed by that. So I never had to franchise them out, as it were. They built their own franchise, which allowed me to focus on the other things that we're working on for their.
But yes, challenge your knight and watch him just go, oh, hell no, you did it. And all of a sudden now you're racing to help this person. And it really helps the person whose stuff is being moved. They might still tell you no, but for that split second, they felt like they were the most important person in the world. And that's my favorite thing is just seeing their eyes light up like, no, I don't want you to help me. But that was funny as hell.
Yep. Also, part of the challenging the knights, and this goes out to all the Shiv out there, and anyone really, but mostly like the Shiv, is there shouldn't be an expectation that the squires are going to go do it. One of the best things I do, like I was sitting talking with Duke Havek, and for those of you that know Havek, big, tall, quiet Duke Havek, we're talking, and he just holds up a finger, says 1 sec, and then just walks away, and I'm like, okay, whatever, and I turned to follow him. He just up and went and helped somebody. Someone had a bunch of chairs. Havek just walked up, asked them if they needed help, grabbed them and helped them. And that's just what he does. And I think as chivalry, we should be doing that and only being intercepted by squires on the way to allow the squires to do it for us. And so my challenge to all you chivalry out there is start making the squires feel bad that we're going and helping and they're sitting on their asses doing nothing.
You'll never know the shot if you don't take it.
Yep.
Good point.
Sorry, John.
Dan's got another good question. Dan's got another good question for it. Do either of you have a boogeyman quotation that you make it your goal to beat? And I have a
That's one of my favorite questions. That's one of my favorite questions, John.
I've got a follow-up for this one that's specific for you two once we're out of it. Or do you want me to ask the follow-up before this question? Because this.
Yeah, which is this one real quick because I mean, I'll be honest. This one actually hits a little home, a little emotional right now because I will never be able to beat my boogeyman.
Ditto.
Because Hansa, when he passed, he was one of those. I mean, Havek, Connor, Fabian. These are all the giants that I look up to right now, and I will never be able to beat Hansa now. I will never have the ability to say I beat him in a tournament.
See, and I never even wanted to beat him. I wanted to, how do I put this without it coming off as egotistical? I always wanted him to be like, what's the terminology?
Acknowledge that you almost kicked his ass, even?
Yes, acknowledge that it was you scared me for a second. He was my boogeyman. But I mean, I have a lot of boogeymans. I'm a squire. I mean, I got in a lot of trouble actually in this last tournament. I was standing next to Leotolf and I had to fight Miles. And I said out loud, fuck, this is going to suck. And as soon as I was done, I got scolded, lovingly, I would say, by my knight and a couple of other knights where it was, you walked out there with this terrible mentality. You don't do that, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, they were gently scolding me. But yeah, the wow, you brought it this time, or, you know, I had to really ramp myself up. Wilhelm, I agree. But when Leotov told me that, I said, no, Miles is going to whoop my ass because it's Miles. And it's because it's Connor and Havek, Hansa, all of these different guys are going to whoop my ass. But I want to know I at least gave them a good chance. And when Miles literally flat snapped and I blocked it, and I was so proud. I'm like, haha, you didn't flat snap me. Flat snap.
Yeah, you didn't one-shot me.
Yes. I told him that. I literally told him that as I was walking up to him to congratulate him when, you know, he bought that one. It was the, you didn't one-shot me. And he goes, no, I shot twice. And we were cracking up. But Boogie...
So I'd like to kind of add on to the boogeyman thing. I think something to kind of take home for some of you out there that have trouble with your boogeyman.
Fight more.
A bit of advice that I have is in its mental game is there is literally no one in this game you can't beat. Literally, I don't care how new you are, how old you are. There is no one you can't beat. All you got to do is throw the right shot at the right time, and if you train and you practice, you'll have that right shot in your toolbox. Odds are that person's going to beat you first every single time, but you could beat anybody with the right shot at the right time. You just got to beat them before they beat you.
Oh, unbelts do that all the time because they throw the crazy stuff.
Or just their timing.
Yes.
And so if you start getting it into your brain of, I could beat anybody. I could beat, you know, the Duke Svens and the Duke Connors and the Duke, the Uthers of the world. I can beat them. Yeah, they're probably going to beat me first, but I can beat them. And I'm going to train and I'm going to practice until I can beat them before they beat me. And I think that goes a long way to getting past the boogeyman sensation, because then it's not just this unbeatable monster. It's, I can beat you. I just got to work at my timing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So my follow-up to that is, Honora, at one point, was Heinrich ever your boogeyman?
Yes, actually. It wasn't so much that I hated fighting him. It was more like I could not ever lay a stick on him. And when I would, I always felt that it was either an accident or that he gave it to me. Like he wanted to make me feel better, so he let me have this shot. And I would get so fucking mad.
Oh, that made several nights rough. And,
yeah.
And I'll be honest, those the first year or two of her fighting, especially when the first year or two of her fighting when we were together. So I tend to notch about 2 levels above. If you're fighting at a 3, I'll fight at a 5. Right? I want to challenge you, but I'm not going to give you, my level 10 crown fight. Right? I want you to be challenged, but I don't want you to feel like you're just getting walked over. But I do have a bottom limit. And with Honora, when she first started fighting, she hadn't risen to that bottom limit. And so I pushed and I pushed and I pushed, and she got super frustrated, really annoyed at me over and over.
Yeah.
But when she finally hit that point, she had done it on her own. I hadn't really done anything other than just pushed her. And then that first time where she started laying stick and I had to go up a notch, that's when she's like, you let me have that. I'm like, no, I haven't let you have shit. I still don't let you have shit.
It's taken 2 years for me to start accepting that I can actually lay stick on somebody versus it being, oh God, I'm so sorry.
Yep.
And for the longest time, I would apologize. And so to him, to finally now be like, yes, I got that. It's been a real mind fuck for me. So he's still kind of the boogeyman in that case, where it's oh, I'm actually getting better. So now I actually have to consider that I'm decent at this.
Yeah. She keeps making me click it up. It's like the other day, a couple weeks ago at a practice, she threw something and then immediately swept it up and went for the head. And I barely caught the block, but it was like, it was an amazing fucking shot.
This is also why we do not decide our arguments on fighting. A lot of people always jump to that conclusion. Non-fighters, non-SCA people find out that we're both fighters and they're like, oh, how cute. You guys must fight out your arguments. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? He would win every fight. This dude gave me a crown level fight to finish an argument. Motherfucker would wipe my ass on the ground. I'm not that stupid.
You could still beat me. You still throw that one shot at the right time.
I will be the most discourteous fighter by blowing every one of your shots until you broke my leg just to try and lay stick on you. Nope. Mm-mm.
Just blind J shot.
Yes, because sometimes I'll do that. I will be super mad, and I will tell him, I'm fucking mad. I need to blow some steam off. Fight me, and just be a pal. And he'll block everything, and he might throw a shot to keep me accountable.
Keep her honest.
But he'll tink me and be like, "That's good." I won't even acknowledge it. He knows he got me. We're gonna keep going. Just keep blocking.
Yeah,
still never works. So no, good question.
So Shay's got another question up here. So who is your SCA hero?
Oh, you want me to go?
You can go first.
I'll go for it. I don't really have a hero. That's a hard question for me, Shay, honestly, due to the fact that I don't have just like one hero. Like, I love Captain Marvel, but I love Captain America as well because they both embody two different aspects. I have so many people, honestly, and not just knights that I admire. Leotolf, fucking most humble man I have ever goddamn met in my life. He's worse than me. You have to admit to that. Way worse than me on humility. Connor, my Grand Knight. He's one of the first men I ever raced to try and help somebody with something. He is the biggest, scariest man out there, but the biggest teddy bear as well. I would love to be like a Connor to the West. Havek and his presence. I would love to be like Havek. Havek is, again, 6'1,000", dresses all in black. If you've never met this man, he is like the Grim Reaper walking around the Eric.
Never says a word, super quiet.
Walks quietly, carries no stick, and doesn't need to.
First time I ever heard him laugh, I thought like
the heavens open up, bro.
It was just the weirdest thing. I'm like, who is this guy, and who replaced Havek? Because he doesn't open up to a lot of people. He's a very quiet, person.
Anybody,
but get him alone. Yeah.
Anyone who contributes and makes the SCA a better place in any capacity, those are my heroes, and those are the people I hope to glean some sort of knowledge and insight in how I can make the SCA, honestly, the world, a better place. It sounds really stupid out loud. Not as cool as I thought it would, but those are the people that I love and I want to be like.
The microcosm.
Yeah.
Ooh, fancy. I can't say that shit.
No, my answer is kind of the same. It's I don't have any one hero. I mean, there are people like my knight Duke Matthias was an amazing guy, but he was human. Right, he had plenty of faults and flaws, but he was an amazing guy that did a lot for others. Leotolf's another good one. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm reading Lucas's comment.
Tell me once, if you want to be a hero on the field or at war, then be the hero, be the heroic thing, and you'll be recognized for it. Just don't hope for it.
Yeah.
Oh, I could see him saying that. I want world peace.
But
thanks, Shay.
But that was the kind of guy he was. Right. It was very much the he was a humble hero as well. I mean, hell, there's if anyone's aware of the West Ontier War Cloak, it's a award given out by the opposing kingdom every year to someone of the opposing kingdom who did something amazing that year. And it's really cool Viking shoulder cloak cape thing. I don't know, but they call it the hero's cloak.
Is it always given to fighters?
I think for the most part it is.
I was just realizing that it's only ever really given to fighters. I think
it's only a fighter thing. But like if West is hosting, they give it to someone from Ontier. If Ontier is hosting, they give it to someone from West. Matthias, there's pictures of him when he got it, and it's pictures of him, and he's just like his head's humbled, and he's like, I don't deserve to be here, kind of thing. Just because of the way he was. But there's just so many people that like Simone working gate.
Oh God, yeah.
And our constabulary that sit around working gate, are people that work, the ANS, the newcomers booths, are just all those kinds of people that just someone comes to the SCA for the first time. Yeah, they're going to see these grand heroes that we talk about. Yeah. But those aren't the people that they interact with. Those aren't the people that matter the most, because it's the person at gate who helps them. It's the gold key that helps get them dressed for the first time. It's the herald that helps someone who's new figure out their name and device. Those are the heroes at the SCA, because those are the people that lock in our newbies and keep them going. What?
I'm just laughing because like we say that out loud and it sounds like we're just pulling shit out of our ass.
No, I completely agree. It's that shadow lane that takes their entire day, where it's like they had all this stuff planned for that day, but it's like they have newcomers, so it's like my job is to escort these newcomers around to make sure that they feel welcome, and if they have questions, they're there to answer.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Because it's like the thing we used to that we say in the West with the Royals is, if we didn't have newcomers and we didn't have all the people out there in the audience doing the thing, we're just a bunch of idiots on fancy chairs and shiny hats.
Spray painted Burger King hats.
Because it's there's no point of a king and a queen and a prince or princess or anyone out there if there's no one out there to actually like answer. So
it's a cop out answer, but I'll take it. Right? That's exactly what it came across as, motherfucker.
It's a very knightly answer. It's very knightly.
Ooh.
It's a very humble knightly answer.
Ew.
Because I'm the most humblest knight you'll ever meet.
By the way, Shay, I don't want peace. I want problems. I never want peace.
Yes. Yes, that is kind of the, you're pontificating, my love. I'm gonna hear about this later tonight.
We're gonna put on armor and deal.
Bullshit. Yeah, you're right. The kid is currently at Avant Grand, dude. So we do have at least, it's 8:00. We have a little bit of sunshine left. We can definitely do that. Oh, look, there's your Aaron.
Oh, there's my Squire brother.
Yeah.
I miss you, Squire brother. Aaron Thornberg.
Aaron Thornberg.
Yeah, he and I were Squire at the same time with
gotcha.
Matthias. So.
Good.
But yes. No, I love you. Goodbye.
I love you. Goodbye.
So quick
that's
question.
the, oh God, I'm sorry. Yeah.
You like Captain Marvel, but you also like Captain America. Do you think Captain Marvel would have been on Iron Man's side or Captain America's side during the Civil War?
Fuck. I think Captain America's side. Because I think she honestly would have seen it more as the
government betrayal.
Government betrayal. We need to protect everyone else. We need to protect the greater good versus that.
I think so.
The rights of the people as opposed to, or I guess the rights of the individual as opposed to the rights of the people.
She'd have knocked their heads together. Okay, that is also incredibly true. Probably. And this is also...
You're both being stupid. Stop this.
This is also why I love her, because she would have done that. She'd have been like, this is the stupidest argument ever. We're superheroes. Get the fuck over it. And Shay, I look forward to you and I fighting. Because no. But then again, I
given time, Batman can beat anyone. That's the thing.
Yes, but no. Yes, but no. Batman makes contingencies.
Right. Give him time.
But
a death match without research, no.
Yep, agreed.
And not to mention, in Marvel Universe, we're getting into this shit. Marvel Universe, they don't have any kind of kryptonites. Superman has kryptonite. I can't remember that really awesome show. Which one was it?
Lots of mutants that have
Captain Marvel's weakness was magic. Batman doesn't have magic. Yeah, it was magic.
To be fair, I'm not a comic book. I am a Marvel Universe. Yeah. I will take it all. We should have a Marvel versus DC battle. Okay, so Dan, my knight, he is one Captain America of the West. He is the lefty Captain America of the West. The righty is Leotov. And Leotov actually had a full Captain America rig at one point that he fought in that he fought in a cancer tourney at Antir. It was really awesome.
Another gentleman did the full Black Panther kit up there.
So don't even give this as an option. I do not have time to make a Captain Marvel get up.
Leotov and I have already talked about it. He does Viking Captain America, and I need to do like 12th century Captain
Viking
America.
Captain, gosh, Norse is so hot right now.
It's very Norse. But anyways.
Yeah. Anywho.
My Knight Tail has a Darth Vader helmet that is SCA legal, and I keep trying to get him to pat it. And I was like,
somebody has a Mandalorian one.
But
the Mandalorian one looks amazing, but unfortunately he got it made in a way that I don't think he can get the padding in, or he can't strap it correctly, so he can't use it. But fuck, that looks good.
I know.
He's one of my favorite people. Oh yeah, I know. He's amazing.
So as Effin keeps saying, we're about at time, so I guess we'll go ahead and round up with the.
Effin.
Yeah, we're at.
Okay, Effin no longer gets to give me shit for being the mom of the group, and he pulls that kind of crap. I don't ever do that.
I mean, if people are still watching, we can keep still asking
that's kind of what that was my viewpoint.
We don't have a kid. We're free tonight. So.
Yes. I don't even know what we're gonna do after this.
What's up, Effin?
I said questions are great, but we got on a tangent of Marvel, so.
Oh my god!
All right, back to SCA questions.
Yeah, nobody's asked the really awkward questions. I'm kind of disappointed. Everybody's been very PG.
Well, what's your awkward question that you want to ask or answer?
But we always have these conversations when we're driving. We always have these awkward questions. That's the nice thing of our communications. I can ask you the weirdest fucking shit.
Shay says, yeah.
Fuck off, Shay. I will drive to wherever this motherfucker is. I swear to God. When are you going to come and visit us in Lockhart?
When we win the lottery, brother.
Oh, my. No, I think we can do it. We just have to not go to any other events for you.
Probably.
Yanto, don't you worry. You're on my list because apparently I now have a lot more Lockhart friends who I have to go visit now.
Yep.
So we're going to just go everybody will hear about it too, because you will hear it in fucking America, me losing my epic shit.
Just like kangaroo, koala.
Fuck off, fruit bats. Fruit bats are there crows there. Do you Oh my god.
Fruit bats are pretty cool.
Fruit bats are my thing. As you can tell, bats are my thing. Chocolate or peppermint? Oh no, because we can't do this because Effin's gonna get upset, and he should have been hosting.
Wait, what?
Chocolate or peppermint? If you know visual advice.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, this can go into many different. That's what she said things, and I'm gonna go for chocolate because it doesn't burn no matter what orifice you're putting it into.
I mean, it's visual advice, so I'm thinking that's probably not what they're talking about.
I mean, yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Look, I'm up here. I didn't say what I thought. Will you both be at Penzic? Unfortunately, Thorin, that is probably out of the books for this year. What, a month? We really want to take the RV there if we're going to go because we're bougie and we don't camp anymore. Yeah. If you could build an SCA site, what would it be? Shay, what do you mean by an SCA site? Are we talking about like an event site? Like a physical location? Or are we talking about like a website? What do you want to see less on the field? Besides rhino hiding and discourtesy. Lucas.
I honestly, what I want to see is kind of the same answer I gave in the first place, which was basically I want to see someone out there fighting for fun and to learn, and not trying to prove anything.
But no, that's the rhino hiding and the discourtesy.
No. You don't have to be rhino hiding or discourteous to still be out there just winning, right? Dick measuring, like we talked about. If you're out there just trying to win, right? You're doing it legitimately. Mm-hmm. You're not blowing off shots. You're not being discourteous, but your focus is always working. You're always winning. Then that's, I don't care if you win or lose. You're the king of practice. Congratulations. Right. I want to see people trying, having fun, teaching with the focus on getting better.
Okay. The non-knight in the group is going to say less plastic. I get that we all began at one point where we were wearing not the greatest armor. There are ways to cover it. You can wear plastic armor because it's cheap and it's cheap and right there to you. Spray it down with a P90 sticky glue and then put leather over it and you cover it. Try and up your kit.
That's a good point. I actually had
make an attempt.
Plastic at one point, and that.
Oh yeah, so do I. Yeah. It's fucking awesome.
My Spalder caps that have the stamp on them are my cross and her fleur. Those are plastic.
Yeah,
but they've got the blue leather over them and the paint stamp.
You can literally take any piece of armor, even the most ghetto, even the most used, and pretty it up. You just got to ask. And if anybody gives you grief on, we'll just get better gear, you fucking come to me and then tell me who they are because I'm going to talk to them. Because I fucking hate that bullshit. You can die pretty.
Dan asked, pegging, yes or no?
International Women's Day. What?
Anywho, I got to admit, I don't know. Anywho, Shay says a site specifically for hosting events. What was his earlier question? If you could build an SCA site. an abandoned building. Say, for instance, like we have abandoned Albert.
No, you're building though, not taking over. Like building.
No. She's got a point. No. She's got a point. So, like,
Let me go. Shut up, Knight. Shut up, Knight. Yes, we have a ton of abandoned supermarkets here in the West. Well, at least here in our town of Merced. There's an Albertsons that's been empty for like 20 years. A fucking Albertsons? Orchards. There's thousands of orchards now all over the U.S. Orchard supplies that have not been taken over. Okay. And these oftentimes have ACs, they have bathrooms, they have plumbing of some sort. Any kind of abandoned grocery stores will have a kitchen of some degree.
Service kitchen, yeah.
Why not gut them? And by gutting them, literally just making them to our uses and have it be like a centralized location, which is very difficult, I understand. But I would love to take the Albertsons here, make it that people could, they help to pay rent. You rent a particular corner, like a certain footage, you can build a facade. You could build, you want your household to be Tudor, you build a Tudor facade, and like that's your
Dickens Fair.
Dickens Fair, Renaissance fairs. Mm-hmm. They have these kind of things. You might not be able to, put it into the floor, but you could build the infrastructure to put the tarping on the outside to make it look like your pavilion sitting on the edge of an Eric. You are now indoors. You can fight all times of year. You have everything you need, and it's all right there. You don't have to worry about sites, blowing
They always have great parking.
They have great parking. There's so many different things all right there for you. That's my thing.
Legit.
On top of that, you could also register it as a nonprofit civic center and rent it out to other organizations to have events there, but primarily.
Exactly. Imagine people having weddings there. They could have their own weddings.
Yeah,
you could have a stage on one side that is primarily where you're going to have court. Now you don't have to worry, is the sun in my face? Is it hot? I mean, here, oh, it's too hot. Aidenveld. Oh, it's too hot. Oh, in the east. Oh, it's snowing. You don't have that problem anymore. You now just have to make sure that people get there. That is a difficulty. That's an entirely different subject about traveling. So that was mine. We're going to go to the next one.
That's legit.
And of course, ripping up the middle of it and putting down like AstroTurf, like the plastic grass.
AstroTurf, if you want it. Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. I thought of just putting like not a tarp, but like spray painting the ground. But you're right. Doing something like AstroTurf. Boom. There you go.
You actually, technically, if you have the appropriate like netting and stuff, which you could technically hang, you could also have missiles.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean. Yeah, exactly. Now it does come into play when you're going to go into like equestrian. Archery might become a little bit of a difference, but some of these places have the gardening center empty.
Yeah.
So.
I wouldn't recommend equestrian inside of an abandoned Walmart or something.
Exactly.
The next one we had up there. What was the worst advice you got from a peer on going on the path? Yes.
Oh.
So this I'm going to tell you right now, and you've all heard it, and she loves it when I tell her. Just keep doing what you're doing.
You know what? I actually have one better. I did rapier. I started in the SCA doing rapier, and I was in rapier for about 12 years, and I was getting pretty damn decent at it. Until I got told one day, you will never, and this was back when white scarf was a thing. I was told you'll never get white scarfed if you don't start winning tournaments. I do not have the mentality that I have to win a tournament to be considered good or to be a good, that's my worth is to win a tournament. That fucking ruined my love of the game and love of fighting. I took a break almost immediately. Because I'm like, why does that make me who I am by winning a fucking tournament? Oh, yay. So win tournaments, that's how you'll get better. Or win tournaments, that's how you'll get noticed.
Well, you're still kind of fighting that one too, because we've had that discussion a couple of times. Speaking of discussions of when we drive places, with that whole this is what I've told her. Obviously, this is my opinion. This is not the opinion of any other shiver out there. But my opinion is, I don't care if you win the tournament. I don't care. Right? You could have had a really light list just because of the randomness of the day. You could have been on a really good day, and normally, that's not your fight. You just had a really good day. You were on. You'll never have that good of a day again. Doesn't mean you're at the bar of prowess, right? It's consistency. And so when I tell her with tournaments, it's like, I don't want you to win tournaments. I just want you to, one, have fun, But if you're consistently going 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6 rounds kind of thing, right? You're consistently hitting the same rough round count. Because even then, you could have a buy fight first round or a buy fight second round, and you're immediately going into the third round without even having to fight anybody, technically. So, I mean,
I never count those.
most of the time, well, but you have to count them. Most of the time when if you think of it in the grand scheme of things, most kingdoms, the Shiv are entering your crown list. If the Shiv are going to pay attention to you without interfering, without ruining their own fight.
Sorry, no, I just thought of a question and I'm so sad.
They're not going to be paying attention to you until they're out of the tournament. And if you're a decent Shiv, let's say, and I mean, again, this applies because I've gone out in 2 rounds, 3 rounds before. You know, even as a count, I went out in 3 rounds. She went 5 that same tournament. You, just because you go 4 or 5 rounds, you're out. Guess what? Most of the unbelts are already out. By the time I hit round 5, most of the unbelts are already out. And so when I'm watching you, I'm not watching you in the tournament anymore. I'm watching you out on the Roses field doing pickups. So how well you do in the tournament, I know you're still in at 5 rounds. I know you're still in at 6 rounds. We notice that. But don't stress about the tournaments. Don't stress about winning the tournaments. And this should be the same across all the kingdoms. This really shouldn't just be a Western thing. Don't care about the tournaments. Do well. Do your best. The tournament, a seeded tournament, a titled tournament, is the only true place you're going to get a gauge of how your fighting is. And even then, it's the randomness of how is your opponent having a good day, who your opponents are, et cetera, right? But that's the only place. You can come up to me at practice and say, hey, give me a ground fight. And I'll give you 100%, but it's not a ground fight. Because in my brain, there's nothing on the line. Right? So kind of keep that in mind, I guess. And your question?
I mean,
and you forgot it.
What is your we'll get to Lucas in a second. I just thought of a really awkward one that everybody might enjoy. I'm kind of curious because I know this is going to start a huge fight. Who wears the pants in the family? We're both fighters. We both have the ability to hypothetically wear the pants.
I do. I outrank you in the OP.
No, not in the West.
I don't care about that. In the SCA OP, I outrank you. Just saying.
Anywho.
Fight. We don't. That's the thing, though. Is
we really don't. Honestly, I was hoping that was going to get more of a rise out of him, but it really didn't.
Hell yeah, he's got a good point. Yeah, he does outrank you in the OP.
So the West chooses the consort or outranks the sovereign. So in the Western OP, she'll be 172 and I'll be 173.
This is the only time we ever hold that into account.
So in Western order of precedence, the consort actually outranks the sovereign.
Yes. No, I agree, Shay and Demetrius. Marriage works best without pants. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And we pair off on who's going to wear the pants. And most of the time we're just both wearing the pants and bouncing around like fucking idiots.
I make the pants. No, you did make pants recently. You made your harem pant things.
No, I bought them.
Oh, never mind. I make the pants.
No. Yeah.
I make my own fighting pants and stuff. So
yeah, but his tunics suck.
My tunics.
Me and Thor both wear skirts. So
there you go. So
I mean that means that you're just easier access.
Yeah.
Okay. So funnily enough, Lucas, the pre-tourney prep. I never had one of these, honestly. And I had a night, or Valric is one of those where he puts on the headphones. I think he's listening.
He zones. Yeah.
He's zoning so fucking hard. Like you're in front of him doing this and he's gone. I finally found one that actually really worked well for me because I'm always afraid of looking like a dumbass on the fighting field. I put an earbud in, was listening to music that really gets me wanting to shuffle and move. And I went out on the field on the corner, and while I'm swinging my sword, stretching, I'm starting to wiggle my hips to get everything loose and going, I realized I must look like a fucking lunatic out here, like literally twerking to nothing. And it honestly helped. Huh?
You are a lunatic.
Oh, yes. But now I knew that I looked like one out in the middle of nowhere where I'm like, you know what? If anybody's seeing this right now, I've already made an ass of myself today.
Mhm.
I'm loose. I've been stretching. I feel so much better. I honestly felt like that was my best fight, my best fighting headspace I've ever been in, because I was no longer afraid of what people were thinking about and judging me on, because I'd already done the worst that I could have done. So it worked really well for me. Listening to music that makes me want to move, that isn't like grrr, hard music. It was stuff I heard on TikTok that was really good music. So, and yes, Yevon is correct. I thought Winter was the boss. Winter is our 4-year-old, and Winter is the boss. He's very right.
So my prep is less getting into headspace. There is the physical. Definitely need to stretch more and swing my arm more than I do. Don't you even? You don't stretch anywhere near as much as I do. Even
I just said.
So for me though, it's getting finding my happy place, right? Like we talked about, just the stop thinking about the winning. Go in with a winning attitude, but stop thinking about the fights.
How long
Just
did it
let them
take
go.
you to get to that? Like to realize what it was? I think
Decades.
okay. So it's not something apparently that you're going to automatically get. I've never thought of
Some people
asking
never
that
do.
before.
Some people never do. And the thing is and it's different for everyone. Some people, especially if you come from a very either martial art or sports background where you've got that core focus, like you got to get hyped and you got to get my testosterone going. You're probably going to need more of like the headset and the loud rock music or whatever focused on.
That's incredibly
focus
period,
my
by
thing,
the way.
focus my thing. And then someone else more like me is just going to be like, I need to not think about the fight. And so really it's trying all the things until you find the one that works for you.
So it's a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
A whole fucking lot of trial
I've been doing
and error.
this 20 mumble years now. Whatever the math is from 91 to today. It's how long I've been fighting.
I'm not going to say how old I am.
It takes a long time. And it really did to get to the point where I truly felt like I was, a peer level fight. Really wasn't even until hell, even when I won the Cornet tournament, I didn't feel like I was necessarily a peer level fight.
Yeah.
Well,
good question.
One comment that I was always told was like, like within tournaments and stuff like that, you don't necessarily have to be the best fighter, but you do have to be the best fighter that day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
sometimes you never know when that day's going to be.
Exactly.
Padawan's exactly right.
The other thing that I always thought was interesting was I have yet to try fighting angry, and I've always been afraid to try and do that. But I know some people that I think Effin says that I think Gellir fights angry.
I think so. Yes, because he thinks of his leading.
Yeah, and I was like, I've always wanted to try to do that in a controlled environment, and I know the right people that I can attempt to do that on. So,
do it with them. I mean, you have to you have to actually feel it happening, like getting frustrated. I mean, but it's also kind of nice to be able to just let go.
Yeah.
But let them fucking know. Let them know what you're doing.
Exactly.
Someone that can control.
Consent.
Make sure they know how to turn your off switch. And not the one that puts you on the ground. Like
safety word.
Your safety word. There you go.
Yeah. And it's not hold. Hold doesn't always work. Have it be something like banana.
Sun's getting low.
Yes, exactly.
Well, it was because one of the things that kind of called to me was that movie Magnificent Seven. When you know what I'm talking about?
New or old?
The new one. Where Goodnight Robichaux makes the comment, he says, you have to hate what you're firing at. And I was like, I don't hate any of my opponents, but it's still a fight. I feel like I'm missing that part. So I'm trying to kill my opponent. So, I mean, I think I might have had that when I was younger in my fighting career, and I've lost that. So I don't know if maybe I need to get that back, and that might push me past what I'm missing. But I mean, I don't know. I
don't know if you need hate for that, though, because that kind of goes back to what I was talking about, where you find the mindset of, this is my field. I've won this tournament. This is mine. Yeah. And every single fight, you're out there basically like, come on, prove it. Prove that this is not my field. And you can do that from a place of not hate, but it's still you are not my opponent. You are the person who's already lost. Right. So maybe kind of find a way to find the balance of maybe not necessarily hate and anger, but like just the drive of you've already lost. Just sit down.
Look at this comment that Shay put. I've started treating each tourney as a Sunday practice. It doesn't matter if I win, just have fun. Okay. I'm going to comment on this from a Squire standpoint. I had this mentality too for the longest time until I realized, like literally 4 months ago, that it's affecting my tournament. Because in a tournament, at least here in the West, we only do, you fight once and you're out for that round if you lose. In practice, I can go up and fight, it's lay on, and they throw a shot, they're throwing something which I'm realizing is starting to be a repetition. And then sure enough, that third one, they change it up. And I'm like, all right, haha, I guessed right. You don't get that opportunity to guess in a tournament. I don't get to judge or figure out what my opponent's going to do in a tournament. You have to react. You might never have encountered this person before, or you only encounter them every 6 months. So it's a great mentality, Shay. I found that it started fucking with me because then I started treating tournaments as too much fun. So it's a hard one. It's so hard where I'm like, I want to have fun with it. But now I don't get those many chances.
This is another one of those car ride conversations. This is this very thing.
Oh, this poor fucker whenever we go to practices together.
And for you, Shay, and I'm not going to shoot down it because you got to find your fight. But what I would say is focus on the fun. Focus on the fun of a practice. Focus on it being, I'm going to have fun like I do at a practice. But like Honora said, is you really do need to, you still need to win. And you have that one chance. If you do best 2 out of 3, you got 2 chances. But the reality is that you can get too lackadaisical, like Honora said, if you try to treat it always as a practice. So that you need to find that line. And this is something we've been working on with her, transitioning from the fighter practice brain to the fighter tournament brain. Because she's at that point where she's trying to figure that out herself too.
Oh my God.
And so like I said, we've had lots of these conversations, and basically it's find that line. Fun. Okay, now it's tournament. I'm still having fun, but I'm winning.
I feel like you Knights never really explained to us how much of a mental game this is versus physical.
I've tried to.
Yeah, okay, you're right. You guys tried to, but it still doesn't come across as how hard it can fucking be sometimes.
And the thing too is sometimes we think, and Lucas can pipe up on this. We've had conversations. We've actually have a minions chat that we kind of bounce things off.
When they're not usually shooting really questionable memes.
Usually it's memes, but basically we try to cover these things, and it's like sometimes we think the chivalry think we are giving a good mental position, giving a good explanation, and we get the but right over, right? You didn't actually get it. So we think we've achieved the goal of giving the mental, the aspect of whatever it was we were trying to do, and we smile and walk away. So unbelts need to make sure they check the chat. Unbelts need to make sure that if they don't get it, or if they're confused, and this one does it all the time, and ask, stop, be like, no, I don't get it. Please explain it again. Because maybe it is one of those translation things. Maybe we need to go find you a Leotov that can help translate that mental thing that I didn't convey correctly. So
yeah, that's right. Mental game elements are difficult to explain. I thought of a good question, a really awkward one, and we're going to use this chat. We're going to use this as our therapy session. Are you ready?
And good night, everybody.
Hey, you know what? I have to pee, so you have to deal with this discomfort with me.
All right, go for it.
Do you think our relationship would be different if we were not fighters? If, say, for instance, you were no longer fighting, or I was no longer fighting,
or like I was more service pelican oriented,
something like that. Not to say anything against those kind of relationships, but
it's a different dynamic.
Do you think? Yeah. Would we have the same things in common? Oh, Effin just dropped off, bitch. He fights.
Oh, ouch.
Oh.
Lucas, honey. We don't see you at a lot of things too, man. You watch yourself.
There's Effin.
But yes, I get to tease him about this. Okay, real quick for the chat out there, and this is this is because I'm a bitch. When I'm at practice and he's not, and he chose not to practice or bring his armor, I don't let him tell me what to do or he coaches me.
True. That is very
I'm
true.
like, you are
That's
the
our rule.
consort right now. You are not the knight. I have pulled this.
Unless
So-
she specifically asks for knightly advice. If I'm not fighting, I don't get to give knightly advice. So it's kind of the double-edged
Good.
sword of if I want to give advice, I better fucking put my helmet on.
Yeah.
So
It's okay. But yeah, it kind of popped into my head. That might be an after thing question.
I don't know.
But
I mean, I don't necessarily think our relationship would be that different. I think how we met would be all the factors of how we actually started talking and met probably would have not happened.
that's probably true.
Because that
We'd
was
be more friends than
the
anything
fighting
else.
was the thing that got us to actually start talking and realize that we clicked and had all these other things in common.
Yeah, that's true.
So
All right. That was me. I'm like, hey, look, awkward question. And
I
I
mean-
ask these awkward questions when we're driving to practices all the time.
hell, think about it the other way around. You'd probably be the pelican and I'd be the protege.
No. Why would that be a thing?
Because you'd definitely be a pelican before me.
No.
Yeah.
You're a quiet server.
That's what I'm saying. No one notices the quiet server.
Oh God. Anywho,
All right, what else we got? Anything else? Anyone? Any crazy weird things
so
out there?
far? And honestly, we're an hour and 41, and I got stuff to do.
but
too.
we've been interacting with the chat, which is why I've been really loving it, because I never get to talk to these people otherwise. We don't talk about these kind of things on Facebook. So
Yeah.
this was fun.
All right, hold on. What was real quick here? Dan, I hit a plateau. Scroll up a little bit, babe. I just saw that. There we go. I hit a plateau.
Then come
I
on.
never got off. And when I reached a limit of fun, I
Come on.
couldn't get the killer instinct to push further. Yeah, so the thing there, Dan, and this is true of anyone that reaches those plateaus, is find the change up, right? Switch weapon styles, find something to change up the game. Because generally when you hit that kind of plateau, it's either going to be mental or physical. And if it's physical, you can train through it. If it's mental, you just got to figure it out. But by changing something physical, you could get past it. Footwork is a perfect example. Like if footwork is your biggest thing and you can't figure out the footwork and that's your plateau, switch to two.
Ew, that's not the one I meant. Ew.
Switch your weapon that forces you to move.
Yeah.
Right.
So Shay, I like where you're coming from, but no. If you fight with a shield, fight with a buckler. Everything that you do with a shield, do it with a buckler. Because now you have nothing. And if you think fighting a lefty with a regular shield is hard, do it with a buckler. You will hate yourself because now they will eat your other leg for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And my knight
You never get to
punishes
throw
me
that shot, so it's nice being able to throw that shot.
Your favorite thing. And if you, I usually fight two-stick. Drop that into a dagger. Drop it into a cup hilt and just a little stabby, maybe a double stabby, like a double-ended stabby. You have like a 2-foot dagger or something. Go small. If you fight small, go big.
Yep.
Oh my God,
Change
could
it
you
up.
have been more of a dad joke?
Change it up and find the fun, and changing it up is often all you need to kind of get past that hurdle, mental or physical, maybe.
Maybe just find people you enjoy fighting.
That too. Focus on the people you enjoy fighting.
Yeah. If you want a linguistic adventure, fight spear and shield. You'll learn all sorts of new words.
My 2 biggest plateaus were fixed when I took time off from fighting. That's true. When it felt like it was a job as a pushing squire.
Yep.
That happens to, both times I came back better than before and hungry. Mental breaks are a thing. And it's hard because you take that mental break and then you kind of get forgotten.
Yeah,
So-
and there you go, Dan. That's a perfect example. Just changing it up, and go and have fun. I mean, Havek does that just because, I've mastered sword and shield, and I can basically beat anybody I want sword and shield. So now I'm going to fight left-handed sword and shield, or fight Danax,
Exactly.
and whatever. And that's just what he does, so he can get better at it. So
And I think a lot of you might have to maybe revert to what you did at the beginning. I think all of it. I know for me, and I think John, your wife, I think we might have talked about it too, where it was you only feel comfortable fighting certain people. Well, it might be said of if you're finding yourself in a mental block, just go fight the people you honestly like to fight. It's fun. You don't care how many times you go, how many times you win or lose. You're laughing the whole time. I mean, in those cases, you can be picky as hell.
Yeah, and be picky. Pick the fights that are fun. Don't fight because you have to. Like Demetrius said,
yeah.
it becomes a job. It's no longer fun.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
and that's the thing I'm trying to ensure with her too. Is
Same thing I'm trying to get back into him.
keep the fun fights. Yeah.
Is there is a fun aspect of it. It's not a job. He's kind of in that where it's I love you.
It can seem like a job.
Where it's really hard to get him eager and interested in fighting. And as a consort and a fellow fighter, that's really a hard place to be, because I'm like, do I want to be a cheerleader or do I want to be a nag? And it's hard to help somebody else find that joy.
Yeah. It's a game. Sport. Have fun.
Think about how many times you play, patty cake with a kid. After a while, that fucking patty cake gets bored as shit.
Yep.
Yeah. You got to break out the lawn darts.
Exactly. Go do something else. That's when, if the whole SCA as a whole is getting boring. So sorry.
So, and Dan, you say you're stuck right now. You're trying to come back from a long break. Pell. Get a Pell.
But a Pell's really boring.
Free. I know it's boring, but make it into a thing. You gotta, do the 1 to 6. Start coming up with new combos.
I don't know.
The flow charts. And then from there, take that into practice with your helmet time, and then you now have a moving Pell, and just do from what you were doing on your Pell, do that to your opponent. Throw weird shots, do high crosses, do like under the shield leg shots, do weird stuff. Not everything has to be flat snaps, turnovers, and pendulums and wrap shots. Do weird things. Try to go for like an under shield leg chop kind of situation. Like, you can do whatever you want. Make it Pell, yeah. Well,
I found actually watching movies when I did Pell work was better.
Yeah.
Because I would watch The Avengers, and funnily enough, and every time I heard them punch something or say something, like maybe a catchphrase, hell, I would pick like something out like the. Every time they were talking and said the word the, I'd throw a shot. So then you're not anticipating it. You're not thinking about it. Throw a shot. So, and try everything, even the weirdest shit. Like in all things. Text to speech random. Ooh, that's different.
Oh,
The neighbors already hate me.
Let them hate you. So anyway, I think we should go ahead and wrap it up at this point.
I think so too. Yeah, we're almost hitting the 2-hour mark. My bad.
Final question.
Oh no, not mine.
Has the SCA made you for the zombie apocalypse?
The SCA?
Yes.
Not very.
No. Oh, fair.
Motherfucker was in what was it? Zombie
Squad.
Zombie Squad. So I honestly, like I said,
a national organization to prepare for emergency preparedness.
I was never the sort to have get a bug out bags, things like that. I mean, I had the usual things like maybe, I've had gun safety, things like that. This guy's now had it where I want bug out stuff. And then, honestly, fighting. I feel like fighting has really helped me when it comes to reading another person's body. I could read body language pretty well, but now I feel more accomplished if they're going to throw something. How are they standing? How, are they going to throw with the right hand? Are they using a right hand or a left hand more primarily? I feel like that kind of thing, it has me really prepared. And reaction time is a lot different now too because of fighting. So fighting, like I said,
that's true.
I am so fucking ready for the apocalypse right now. I take that back.
My big things are always medical, and medical.
See, and we were actually just talking about this, not to speak ill of the dead, but we really need to get our first aid back up and going.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Dagger practice. No, I'm not getting in close to a zombie apocalypse. I've seen the movies. I'm a coward. I ain't having those motherfuckers anywhere near me.
Oh, can you imagine Pike against zombies? Just stabby.
That would be kind of fun.
9 foot, keep them 9 foot away. It's great.
That would be fun. But yes. But thank you, John.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, chat. Thank you for our
guests. Thank you, chat. That was fun.
For the pussy that jumped in at the last second to entertain us, the cat.
Oh yeah, that's my 3-legged. That's the Remus, and she's. I think. Yes, we have. When we come in the house, we count legs. It's 4, 3, 4, 4. So three-legged, four-legged, four-legged, four-legged. So yeah, she's our 3/4.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. And we'll hope you have a wonderful night, and we will see you next time.
Be safe.